What's up, everybody, and welcome back to A Beer a Day with TK. It's Friday afternoon here in Philly, Ohio. It's a little rainy, a little overcast, but it's okay. I took a ride today up to Bowling Green to hit up the beer shop, BG Beverage Center, pick up a few beers for a beer trade, and I was thrilled when I got there. The first Oktoberfest of the season are on the shelves. Now, I saw on social media, Shiner was the first one I think I saw do an advertisement. So they had Shiner in stock, but they also had Wolf's Ridge out of Columbus, and they had Masthead, which is another Ohio brewery out of the Cleveland area. So I was excited. I scooped up the Masthead and Wolf's Ridge. I passed on Shiner for now. I can get that whenever. But super excited to see them. If you watch the show, you know this is my favorite style of beer. The Märzen style, Oktoberfest, Marzens, whatever you want to call them, are amazing. I absolutely love them. The one great thing is Oktoberfest season seems to be creeping backwards every year. So usually by mid-July or so, third week of July, they're hitting the shelves, which is completely cool with me. They can stay on the shelves as long as humanly possible before we have to move into the dark, high ABV winter beers. These are a perfect style for me, the fall kind of seasonal. So I'm not a big fan of the summer beers. They tend to be low ABV. A lot of them are kind of lemony and citrus fruit and that stuff, and I'm not a huge fan of that. And then, like I said, the winter beers are okay, but they tend to be really high ABV and really dark. And these are kind of a nice in between. These are neither really light or really dark, and I just really enjoy them. So, my first Oktoberfest of the 2021 season is going to be Wolf's Ridge Oktoberfest. And again, they're out of Columbus, Ohio. I've been down to their location before. It's pretty cool. They have a tap room and a dining room, essentially. I've never eaten there. The dining room seems a little too bougie for me. They have some kind of fancier stuff. Usually when I go out to drink beers, I just kind of want pub grub. I'm not really in the mood for, duck and pork chops and fancier food. Although I will say I was looking over their menu and they had something called Basque garlic soup, which sounded amazing. I might try to recreate it on my own or see if I can figure out how to do it. All right. Oktoberfest, let's see what it's like. This is 5.4% ABV, 20 IBUs. The ratings are going to be probably from last year's because this just hit the shelf. But on Beer Advocate, last year's had a 3.74, Untapped a 3.7, 84 good as the aggregate score on Beer Advocate. Going with my Finley Oktoberfest glass. Last year, our Oktoberfest was canceled, as was the actual Oktoberfest in Germany, and probably most of them throughout the world. So here's to hoping that we pull through this fall and actually get to have an Oktoberfest, enjoy some beers, enjoy our friends, and get back to life as normal. All right, so color-wise, this has kind of got a nice caramel color. When you deal with Oktoberfest, in my opinion, they kind of come in one of two varieties. You can either get the traditional one, which is more like a straw or yellow kind of color, or you get these more caramel amber colored ones. These ones tend to be sweeter in my opinion, or at least the ones that I've tried, but it looks pretty decent. Got a decent amount of carbonation in there. Nice color to it. As far as the head, that's a nice looking head, at least 2 fingers. That looks nice and frothy. White for the most part. There might be a slight bit of a khaki color to it, but looks pretty decent. Let's give it a sniff. Kind of light, toasted malt kind of thing. Smells good. Let's see what our can has to say. Style, Märzen Lager. Profile, toasted bread, smooth, traditional. Got a little blurb on the back here. Steeped in tradition and consumed in celebration, Oktoberfest is the perfect lager to herald the onset of autumn. Toasted bread on the nose leads to a slightly sweet malty flavor with just a hint of noble hops, crisp and highly quaffable, brewed to be drunk by the stein. Enjoy this brewer's favorite seasonal beer. So I do have a few more. I bought a 6-pack, but I'm not going full stein yet. I'll wait for a few more hours, right? But it looks really good, smells really good. Let's give it a taste. Prost! Going into the German mode. It's interesting. Definitely has a nice smooth character to it. You do pick up kind of like the bready malt, not bready, I guess it's more like a toasty malt. Not really much of a caramel taste. Even though you have the caramel color, you really don't get the caramel taste in this one. Now, what is kind of unique is you do get a fair amount of hops in this compared to most Oktoberfests. Now, I will say this. It's not over the top with the hops. It's just kind of like a nice addition. Um, when you deal with Oktoberfest, I think they tend to be more malty. So obviously, I guess most beers are kind of this battle between maltiness and the malty sweetness and hoppy bitterness, and kind of you can have any place in between is where a beer could land. Most of the time, the Oktoberfest I think tend to be on the malty end as opposed to IPAs and the other stuff that would be down the hoppy end. This one is kind of more towards the middle. So this is going to be medium bodied, but what you do notice, I think, is that it's a little hoppier than the traditional Oktoberfest. Now, I guess it depends on how you feel about hops. I don't think that it's too hoppy at all, but I mean, if you're just looking for that kind of sweeter, maltier beer, the hops might throw you off a little bit. But I don't think that it's distracting in any way or that it's too much hops. I actually think it adds a nice little bit of balance to what's usually just kind of a malty drink. Again, if you have hop heads, I'm probably a malt head. I prefer to malty beers, but it's nice to have that little bit of a hops bite on there as well to let you know that it's a little something different. So this is a really good beer, and I'm thrilled to be able to have my first one of the season. So Wolf's Ridge Oktoberfest, you would definitely get a big thumbs up. I look forward to checking out some more of their beers and going out to visit Wolf Ridge again in the fall. And I look forward to the start of the Oktoberfest season and trying as many of these beers as I can before they're going from the shelves. So if you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up, hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit subscribe. And as always, you got any comments or questions, jump in down below. What's your favorite Oktoberfest? I have to say mine is probably one of the OGs. Paul Lader is probably my favorite, although there's probably 50 of them that I like. So what's your favorite Oktoberfest? Let me know below in the comments. Hey, till next time, cheers. Have a great weekend.